Whenever we do heavy exercise, eat spicy food, have fever, or are nervous, in all these cases, one thing is common and that is sweat. Sweating is something which is necessary to our body. So let us look at what is sweating.
Zombie apocalypse.
Sweating is basically release of salty liquid from sweat glands. Now, what is the reason of sweating? Why do we actually sweat? Sweating helps us to cool our body temperature. Whenever our body temperature rises due to any reason, it may be due to heavy exercise or due to emotion or stress, our hypothalamus present in brain sends a signal to sweat glands present beneath the skin. These sweat glands release sweat and the sweat comes out of a tiny pore and comes on our skin. When this tiny salt droplet evaporates, it takes heat from our body, which results into cooling of our body. This whole process is known as homeostasis. Homeostasis basically means maintaining equilibrium between outer and inner body temperature. So what is the actual work of sweating? Sweating actually helps in hemostasis, or we can say it helps in maintaining internal body temperature between 36 to 38 degrees Celsius, which is a normal body temperature. Now let us look at some of the interesting facts about sweating. In our body, there are about 2 to 4 millions of sweat glands. Highest density of sweat glands are present on the palms and soles of feet. Next fact is quite more interesting. It is from baby to adult, the number of sweat glands does not change. Therefore, babies have the highest number of sweat glands per square inch. That is 8 to 10 times higher than adults. Does sweat smells? Sweat is odorless and colorless. Then why we get smell? Actually, bacteria on the skin mix with the sweat and produce body odor. Yellow underarm stains are caused by apocrine glands which contain protein and fatty acids and thus make underarm secretion thick and milky. What is a normal sweating rate? Some people might only sweat half a liter during an hour of intensive activity, while some might sweat 3 to 4 liters. Still, both are normal range. A person's size and gender can play a very important role in how they sweat. Women typically sweat less than men. That doesn't mean that women are more likely to suffer from heat stroke. The truth is, women have fewer sweat glands, but they also have few less muscle mass. So they produce less heat and therefore need to sweat less. Now there are some of the problems related to sweating, such as lack of sweat when person is hot. This is a type of disorder in which the person's internal temperature is high, still it is not sweating. This usually happens when the person suffers from heat stroke. Heat stroke happens after prolonged exposure to high temperature, such as, for example, for younger people, it generally occurs after prolonged exercise or outdoor activity without adequate hydration. Heat stroke is seriously a big issue if it is ignored. Hot and humid weather makes cooling off and hence sweat evaporation becomes ineffective. This is the main reason why heat stroke becomes a serious issue, which can eventually lead to body temperature above 40 degrees Celsius along with feeling faint, dizzy and confused. Some of the other reasons why someone may not sweat are nerve damage or skin disease. Now the next problem is regarding dehydration. Sweat, when loses from our body, is basically the water loose in our body. So dehydration takes place. That is why solution of this problem is water intake. Adequate amount of water should be taken on a regular basis to avoid dehydration. Now, the next problem is person who is not hot but is still sweating. This means that the internal body temperature is not high but still the person is sweating. This disorder is basically related to the problem in sympathetic nervous system. Many times this can be due to spicy food or nervousness. Nervousness can be due to anything. It may be due to exam or interview or any other thing. This type of disorder is basically known as hyperhidrosis. Hyperhidrosis is a skin condition where the body sweats more than what is required to keep cool because of overactive sweat glands. So this was all basic information about sweating. There is one additional fact which is interesting also. Researchers are looking to harvest energy from human sweat. Human sweat can be used as a biofuel. It's a very interesting fact. Researchers are doing research in this path.